Hello, and welcome to Healthy Aging Blueprint. I'm truly grateful you're here. On this channel, we explore simple, powerful ways to care for your body, nurture your mind, and live with purpose at every stage of life. Wherever you're watching from, I wish you good health, peace, and lasting happiness. If you find value in today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a step on your journey to aging well. Have you ever thought about what truly happens when you grow old and find yourself completely alone? Not for a few hours, but for days, weeks, even years? What do you do when silence becomes your only companion? Your meals echo in an empty room, and no one calls your name from the next room. How do some people not only survive this reality, but transform it into something meaningful? In this video, we're diving deep into 4 life-changing habits backed by real-life experience and psychological research. These habits can help turn solitude into a powerful, fulfilling chapter of your later years. And stay with us until the very end. The final habit might completely shift how you view aging alone. It's a perspective that has helped countless seniors not just get by, but truly thrive. Before we jump in, if you find this video helpful, please give it a like so we can continue spreading wisdom for healthy aging. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a new video. If you enjoy this content, comment 1 below. If not, comment 0. Your feedback helps us grow and improve for you. Let's begin with the first key habit, building a steady daily routine. As we age, especially when living alone, one of the first things to slip away is our sense of structure. Without the regular rhythm of family visits, work schedules, or community events, the days can start to blur. You might find yourself eating breakfast in the middle of the afternoon, lounging in pajamas until sunset, or even losing track of what day it is. At first, this newfound freedom can feel like a relief. No obligations, no deadlines. But over time, this lack of structure can quietly chip away at your mental clarity, emotional balance, and overall well-being. Without daily anchors, it becomes harder to feel motivated, and even harder to maintain a sense of purpose. That's why creating a consistent daily routine is so important. It doesn't need to be strict or packed with activities. In fact, the best routines for solo aging are simple, gentle, and personalized. Start with small, intentional actions. Wake up at the same time each morning, even if it's just to sit by the window and enjoy a cup of tea. Wash your face, brush your teeth, and change into fresh clothes, even if you're not expecting to see anyone. These small habits signal to your brain that the day has begun with intention. Prepare a balanced meal, not just for nutrition, but to show care for yourself. A routine isn't just about passing time, it's about reclaiming it, shaping it, and using it to nurture your health, clarity, and spirit. Start your day with intention, perhaps by setting the breakfast table neatly, as if you're preparing for a guest. Even this simple act can make the moment feel more meaningful and less like just another routine meal. Choose specific times for daily activities that nourish both your body and your spirit. Maybe it's a gentle walk through the neighborhood, reading a chapter from a book, tending to your garden, or simply sitting quietly to enjoy the sunlight or the wind brushing past your face. In the evening, establish calming rituals that help signal to your mind it's time to unwind. Eating dinner at a regular hour, followed by a favorite activity like listening to soothing music, writing in a journal, or doing light stretching, can promote emotional ease. Turning off the lights at a consistent bedtime, rather than falling asleep to the TV, helps regulate your internal clock. This rhythm is essential not only for physical recovery, but also for preserving your emotional and cognitive health. The goal here isn't to cram your day with tasks. It's about creating a gentle, predictable rhythm, a sense of flow that your body and mind can count on. When life becomes quieter and your social circle narrows with age, a structured routine becomes more than just helpful. It becomes grounding. It gives your day purpose and guards against that drifting sensation that solitude can sometimes bring. Psychological studies strongly support this idea. Humans are rhythmic beings. We thrive on cycles and predictability, and this need only intensifies with age. A consistent routine helps balance your circadian rhythm, which in turn improves sleep, sharpens mental focus, and stabilizes emotions. For example, keeping regular meal times can prevent blood sugar spikes and dips, helping your digestion and energy levels remain steady. Likewise, going to bed and waking up at the same time each day strengthens memory retention and emotional resilience. Take Walter, for instance, an 81-year-old widower who lost his wife of 50 years. In the months that followed, the days blurred. He stopped keeping track of time, and his world began to feel unmoored. But slowly, by creating a simple daily rhythm, making his bed, opening the curtains, and brewing his morning coffee at 8 a.m., Walter began to feel grounded again. He added in a short walk to the park, then a quiet cup of chamomile tea at night while listening to the radio. These small rituals didn't erase his grief, but they gave his days shape and offered a comforting sense of control. For anyone living alone, especially in later life, a thoughtful routine isn't just structure, it's strength. Let it guide you through the quiet and back toward clarity and peace. A routine is more than just a schedule. It's a quiet, deliberate form of self-care that builds resilience from the inside out. It's about creating a rhythm that feels personal, comforting, and sustainable. Whether that means scheduling a daily phone call with a loved one, watering your plants precisely at noon, or setting aside time to write a few thoughts in a journal before bed, this sense of regularity becomes a powerful ally. Even in solitude, having this structure in place helps ensure that the hours don't simply slip by unnoticed or unvalued. There's something deeply empowering in knowing that your time has form and flow. This steady rhythm acts as a gentle reminder that each day carries meaning. Each morning is a fresh chance to engage, to reflect, and to live with intention. Even if the world outside your window is still and quiet, your inner world can remain full of movement, mindfulness, and vitality. If you're still here and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below, so I know you're still with me on this journey. Thank you for sharing your valuable time. Now, let's talk about the second essential habit: gentle movement for a stronger body and a clearer mind. As we age, especially when we're living alone, life has a way of becoming surprisingly sedentary. Without the natural cues of a bustling household or the routine of a workplace, it's easy to fall into a pattern of limited activity. A typical day might involve moving from the bed to the armchair, to the kitchen and back again. Slowly but surely, hours turn into days, and the body starts to feel it. You might begin to notice a stiffness in your back that wasn't there before, or joints that ache a bit more than they used to. Maybe you catch yourself hesitating before getting up from a chair, or realizing that carrying a bag of groceries feels heavier than it should. These small changes often signal a larger pattern, a decline in strength, flexibility, and confidence in your movement. But the effects aren't limited to the physical. A lack of movement can slowly drain your energy, dim your mood, and even cloud your mental clarity. The brain and body are intricately connected, and when one slows down, the other often follows. The good news? Staying active doesn't require fancy equipment, a gym membership, or an intense workout schedule. What truly matters is consistency and intention. Purposeful, gentle movement, woven into your daily routine, can restore strength and mental sharpness more than you might expect. Simple activities work wonders. A short walk to the mailbox, stretching your arms while the kettle boils, or practicing a few seated leg lifts. These aren't just motions, they're medicine. Movements like these strengthen your muscles and bones, yes, but they also stimulate circulation, lift your spirits, and sharpen your thinking. Imagine doing something as simple as standing up and sitting down from a chair 10 times in a row. It might seem basic, but these kinds of exercises are powerful in their simplicity. They bring energy back into the body and focus back into the mind. Standing up and sitting down from your favorite chair might seem like a small action, but it's actually a powerful way to build leg strength and improve balance. Something as simple as a short walk around the block can awaken your senses and lift your mood, often more than you'd expect. Scientific research strongly supports the value of regular movement for older adults. Even light physical activity, like a 20-minute walk each day, has been shown to reduce the risk of depression, enhance sleep quality, and slow cognitive decline. Why is that? Movement increases blood flow to the brain, delivering vital oxygen and nutrients while stimulating the release of endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that naturally boost your mood. It also supports neuroplasticity, helping the brain stay sharp and adaptable as you age. At the same time, consistent movement strengthens your heart, improves joint flexibility, and sharpens your sense of balance. And when balance improves, the risk of falling, a major concern in later years, significantly decreases. These physical gains directly impact your independence and confidence in daily life. Take Eleanor, for example, a 78-year-old widow living in a quiet suburban neighborhood. After the loss of her husband, she withdrew, rarely venturing outside. Her knees hurt, and she felt constantly drained, both physically and emotionally. Days blurred together, and her sense of vitality faded. But one morning, Eleanor made a simple decision. She would walk to the mailbox. That single step sparked something within her. The next day, she did it again, and soon she was circling her entire block. These brief walks didn't erase her grief or instantly transform her world, but they became a gentle daily ritual. Each morning, Eleanor had a reason to get up, get dressed, and move with purpose. Over time, she noticed she felt more alert, less anxious, and even proud of her body's quiet strength. The simple act of walking helped her reconnect with herself, with her surroundings, and with life itself. Gentle movement is about more than exercise. It's about reclaiming your independence and nourishing your connection to the world around you. Whether it's a stroll to the mailbox or a few stretches by your window, every motion is a quiet declaration. I'm still here, and I'm still moving forward. These gentle movements also open doors to reconnect with the world around you. A simple wave to a neighbor, noticing the shift in the wind, or pausing to hear a bird's song. These moments, however fleeting, remind you that you're still a part of something larger than yourself. Even when you live alone, the outside world continues to move, and you can choose to move with it. If mobility is limited, don't worry. There are still many ways to stay active without strain. Chair-based exercises, seated yoga routines, or even slow arm circles can offer powerful physical and emotional benefits. The key isn't intensity, it's consistency. Find what works for your body and do it often enough that it becomes a familiar rhythm in your day. Think of movement not as a chore, but as a form of self-respect. Staying active is one of the most impactful investments you can make in your future. It helps extend the years you can confidently climb your own stairs, prepare your favorite meal, or tend the flowers in your garden without assistance. But it's not just about your body. It's also about your mind. Regular movement can restore your energy, clear your thoughts, and reconnect you with the simple joys that make life rich. So, move for yourself. Not because anyone is watching, but because your body deserves care. And your spirit deserves to feel alive. Number 3, meaningful connection in small, steady doses. Living alone later in life can bring a kind of quiet that feels both peaceful and profound. On some days, that stillness is a blessing, a space where you can hear your thoughts and truly be with yourself. But on other days, the silence can feel heavy. It settles like a weight on your chest, especially when no one says your name or checks in to ask how you're doing. Even for those who deeply value their independence, that kind of silence over time can begin to dull the heart. Prolonged isolation doesn't just affect our mood, it can weaken our emotional resilience. We are wired for connection, no matter our age. And while you may not need a busy calendar or constant companionship, a steady dose of meaningful interaction can be incredibly healing. Connection doesn't have to mean constant activity. It's about fostering small, meaningful interactions that remind you you're still seen, heard, and valued. Many people mistakenly assume that the cure for loneliness is to stay constantly busy with big gatherings or packed calendars. But for many older adults, especially those living alone, the most powerful connections are the quiet, personal ones. A 5-minute phone call with a family member, a brief conversation with a neighbor while picking up your mail, or even a warm exchange with a grocery store clerk. These fleeting moments carry more emotional weight than we often realize. They can brighten a quiet day, lift your spirits, and remind you that you're not invisible. Science supports this truth. Research has shown that older adults who maintain even light, regular social contact tend to enjoy stronger immune health, lower risks of depression, and improved cognitive resilience, including a reduced risk of dementia. These benefits are deeply tied to our basic human need to connect, a need that doesn't diminish with age. Think of Richard, an 83-year-old widower whose home once echoed with his children's laughter. After his sons moved across the country, his days became long stretches of silence broken only by brief exchanges at medical appointments. The loneliness was becoming unbearable. Then, one day, he wrote a small note offering to collect his neighbor's mail while they were out of town. That tiny gesture sparked a conversation. Soon, they were sharing coffee on the porch once a week. It wasn't a major shift. There were no big parties or scheduled events. But those porch chats became something to look forward to. They gave Richard a sense of belonging, a reason to share stories again, and a renewed connection to the world around him. Small, sincere interactions can go a long way in filling the emotional gaps that solitude sometimes leaves behind. Building connections doesn't always have to mean actively seeking others. It can also be about creating moments that welcome others into your world. If there's someone you haven't reached out to in a while, a cousin, an old friend, or even a neighbor, why not take a moment to send a note or make a quick call? Sometimes, just asking how someone's day has been can open the door to a deeper connection. Imagine this. You wave at a neighbor across the street. What if, instead of moving on, you crossed the road and asked how their garden is doing? That small act of curiosity not only brings a little light into their day, it brings warmth into yours too. These everyday moments may seem minor, but emotionally, they can be incredibly grounding. For those who may feel reserved or unsure of how to reconnect, shared activities can help bridge the gap. Volunteering at the local library, joining a community garden, or mentoring someone younger, whether it's through life stories or simple advice, can renew your sense of purpose and reinforce that your wisdom still matters. You are still needed, and your voice still carries value. Loneliness isn't always about being physically alone. It's more often about the absence of meaningful connection. Just one heartfelt conversation can hold more weight than a dozen small-talk exchanges. That's why taking even the smallest step matters. Smiling at a passerby, complimenting the cashier, or simply listening when someone wants to talk. So today, try one of those small steps. Call someone you've been meaning to check in on. Share a warm word with a neighbor. Let those brief sparks of human connection light up the quiet moments. They're reminders that even when living alone, you are still deeply connected to the world around you. Purpose gives you a reason to rise each morning. One of the most overlooked struggles of aging alone is the quiet fading of purpose. When a long career comes to an end, when children move out to build their own lives, or when loved ones pass on, the rhythm of daily life changes. The house feels still. Familiar responsibilities no longer demand your attention, and it's easy to start questioning whether the most meaningful parts of your journey have already passed. That sense of emptiness can sneak in slowly, draining motivation and leaving you feeling unmoored. But here's something crucial to remember. Purpose doesn't retire. It doesn't disappear with age, nor does it vanish just because life has grown quieter. Purpose adapts. It matures. And discovering a renewed sense of purpose can breathe fresh meaning into life, even when you're living alone. Importantly, purpose doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't need to involve accolades or dramatic accomplishments. Instead, it's often found in the little things that quietly matter to you. Maybe it's growing a small pot of herbs by the window, writing heartfelt letters to your grandchildren, or simply reflecting in a journal filled with your thoughts, memories, and wisdom. These aren't trivial tasks. They are anchors, reminders that your presence and your voice still hold value. For others, purpose might mean trying something new, knitting, watercolor painting, or returning to long-lost hobbies like strumming a guitar or getting lost in classic novels. It might come through service, like checking in on an old friend, volunteering at a local animal shelter, or becoming a mentor who shares life lessons with younger generations. Think about Samuel, a 79-year-old widower who found himself drifting after his wife passed. With no one left at home and no schedule to follow, he felt invisible. But one day he picked up a pen and began writing short stories about his childhood. Those simple pages led him to join a local writing group. Today, he not only shares his work, but also listens to others, exchanging laughter, memories, and support. What started as a quiet hobby became a lifeline, and a reminder that new chapters can be written at any age. Samuel, a widower living in a quiet home in Michigan, faced overwhelming silence after the loss of his wife. The days stretched on, heavy and unstructured, and the loneliness became a constant companion. One afternoon, while sorting through the clutter in his garage, he came across an old typewriter buried beneath years of dust. On a quiet impulse, he carried it inside, wiped it clean, and sat down to type. At first, it was just a simple act of memory, revisiting moments from his time in the Navy, recalling the exact way his wife had smiled when they met, or writing about the day his daughter was born. These stories, originally meant only for his own heart, slowly became something greater. He realized they were a living gift to his family, a legacy made of words and emotion. Writing transformed his solitude into something vibrant. It gave each day a purpose, filled the house with quiet meaning, and replaced the emptiness with reflection and creativity. Scientific research supports what Samuel discovered through experience. Older adults who nurture a sense of purpose, whether through creative projects, helping others, or simply dedicating time to something they love, experience notable benefits. They report lower stress levels, greater emotional resilience, and even increased longevity. Purpose gives structure to our lives, turning empty time into meaningful time. It gently shifts us from merely existing to fully living, restoring a sense of value to our everyday routines. Being alone can actually offer a unique advantage in this journey. Without outside expectations, you have the freedom to explore passions and curiosities you may have long set aside. Have you ever wanted to capture the beauty of nature with photography? Try a new recipe that reminds you of childhood? Or finally sort and preserve a lifetime of family photographs? This is your moment. Whatever it is that brings a quiet spark of joy, follow it. Purpose doesn't need an audience. Its power lies in what it awakens inside you. If you're still with me and finding these lessons meaningful, please comment number 3 below to let me know you're still watching this video with me. I truly appreciate your time. Number 5 is about embracing solitude as a powerful space for self-discovery. As we age and find ourselves living alone, the quiet can sometimes feel like an unexpected guest. Without the sounds of loved ones, the familiar rhythm of daily life, or the constant buzz of conversation, the stillness can feel foreign, even unsettling. But within that silence lies one of life's most powerful and overlooked gifts. It's the invitation to reconnect with yourself, to slowly peel back the many roles you've played: parent, partner, worker, caregiver, and rediscover the person you are underneath them all. Solitude isn't an absence of something. It's not a void or a punishment. It's a wide, open space, a canvas waiting for color, where reflection, growth, and quiet joy can take root. This final habit isn't about avoiding loneliness by filling your day with distractions. It's about learning to see solitude as sacred, an opportunity to meet yourself again with compassion and curiosity. The first step: reframing how we think about being alone. We live in a society that often equates solitude with sadness or isolation, but that's a limited view. When you choose solitude with intention, it becomes something completely different. It becomes a personal sanctuary. In these quiet moments, you can ask yourself questions that perhaps got buried in the noise of a busy life. Who am I when no one is watching? What truly brings me peace, wonder, or joy? These reflections can open doors you didn't know were still waiting for you. Maybe you've always wanted to try meditation, to sit in stillness and truly listen to the rhythm of your breath. Or perhaps you've long felt a pull toward classical music, letting its rich, layered melodies awaken old memories and stir emotions you've tucked away for years. It might even be the gentle joy of reading poetry, tending a small garden, or picking up a beloved hobby like painting or knitting, something that once brought you peace but was set aside during the busier chapters of your life. Solitude gives you the freedom to explore these interests without interruption, without judgment, and without having to explain yourself to anyone else. It becomes a deeply personal space where your time, your thoughts, and your passions are entirely your own. Scientific research has shed light on the powerful benefits of intentional solitude, particularly as we grow older. Studies consistently show that spending time in quiet, creative, or reflective activities can strengthen emotional resilience, deepen self-awareness, and reduce stress levels. Even something as simple as practicing mindfulness for just 5 to 10 minutes each day, focusing on your breath or gently observing your thoughts, has been linked to reduced cortisol, improved mood, and enhanced brain function. These benefits aren't just fleeting. Activities like journaling, drawing, or playing an instrument actively engage multiple parts of the brain, promoting better problem-solving, emotional balance, and long-term cognitive vitality. One 2019 study published in the Journals of Gerontology found that older adults who regularly engaged in reflective solitude reported greater life satisfaction and lower rates of depression. All of this points to one powerful truth. Solitude, when approached with intention and care, isn't simply about filling empty time. It's a meaningful practice, a way to nourish your mental and emotional well-being and stay deeply connected to the person you are becoming. Think about the story of Rose, an 84-year-old widow living alone in a quiet apartment after the loss of her husband. In the early days, the silence was almost unbearable, a constant echo of what used to be. Every room felt a little too empty, every hour stretched a little too long. She found herself drifting through her days without direction, uncertain of how to reclaim meaning or comfort in her new reality. One evening, caught in a restless moment, Rose stumbled upon an old notebook tucked in the back of a drawer. On a whim, she began to write. At first, it was just a few lines, simple thoughts about her day, fleeting childhood memories, reflections stirred by the quiet. Her words were hesitant, almost like whispering into the void, but the more she wrote, the more she uncovered. Long-forgotten emotions, vivid memories, and heartfelt insights began to pour out, almost like opening a long-sealed door. "I never knew I had so many words inside me," she confided to a friend months later. Those quiet nights with her notebook became her sacred ritual, a space where she could meet herself without distraction or noise. Over time, she gathered her poems into a small collection, which she later shared with her grandchildren. That simple act bridged generations, allowing her legacy to live on in the form of shared stories and heartfelt verses. What began as sorrowful solitude slowly transformed into a sanctuary of healing, creativity, and rediscovery. Rose didn't need grand plans or a big audience, just a quiet space and the courage to turn inward. You can create similar pockets of self-discovery in your own life. Start small. Just 15 minutes a day, set aside intentionally for yourself. It doesn't have to be complex. Journaling is a gentle place to begin. You could write about something that happened today, a treasured moment from your past, or even a letter to your younger self filled with kindness and understanding. If writing feels unfamiliar or overwhelming, try other creative outlets. Maybe sketch the view from your window, knit something by hand, or simply sit and breathe with full presence. These little rituals, when done with intention, can bring clarity, healing, and even joy. You might find joy in arranging bouquets from your garden, even if the flowers aren't perfect. These small, hands-on activities aren't about the final product. They're about the act itself. The simple motion of creating, engaging your senses, and focusing your attention can be deeply calming and fulfilling. The beauty lies in the process, not in perfection. If you're curious to try something new, solitude can be the ideal setting to explore those interests. It offers the time, space, and freedom to learn without pressure. Why not browse online tutorials and try watercolor painting? Maybe you've always wanted to pick up a harmonica or dive into a subject like astronomy or classic literature. Many public libraries now offer free access to audiobooks, ebooks, and even virtual courses, opening up a world of discovery at your fingertips. Solitude also encourages deep reflection. It's a chance to celebrate your own life journey and to recognize the resilience that has helped you through challenging moments. Take some time to look through old photographs, not just to remember, but to truly honor the experiences and people that shaped you. You could even write down stories from your past, your first job, a memorable vacation, or how you met someone you loved. Whether you share these stories with family or keep them for yourself, they become a living record of a life fully experienced. And if writing isn't your thing, consider a gratitude practice. Each morning or evening, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you're grateful for. It could be something as simple as the smell of your morning coffee, the feel of soft blankets, or a warm hello from a neighbor. This simple ritual can quietly shift how you view your day, turning solitude into a place not of emptiness, but of appreciation and mindful presence. For those seeking a deeper internal connection, mindfulness and meditation can be incredibly grounding. You don't need any special training to begin. Just find a comfortable seat, close your eyes, and spend a few minutes focusing on your breath. Let yourself be still. Apps like Calm or Headspace offer gentle guidance for beginners and can help you ease into the practice at your own pace. Apps like Calm or Headspace provide guided meditations that are perfect for beginners, many of which last just 5 minutes. But if meditation feels too structured, try a savoring practice instead. Simply sit by a window with a warm cup of tea and take in your surroundings. Notice the texture of the mug in your hands, the distant sound of birds chirping, or the soft glow of sunlight streaming in. These small moments of awareness can ground you in the present, transforming everyday scenes into sources of quiet peace and emotional clarity. Embracing solitude also means releasing the pressure to constantly be productive or socially engaged. It's about giving yourself the freedom to enjoy your own company, to explore your thoughts without judgment, and to find meaning in simple pleasures. Try creating small, comforting rituals that make solitude feel intentional and uplifting. Light a candle while reading your favorite book. Set a lovely table for your solo meals. Put on music you love while tidying up. These thoughtful touches breathe life into your routine, reminding you that your time matters, your space matters, and so do you. For some, solitude brings an invitation to return to old passions. You might find yourself dusting off a guitar you haven't touched in decades, or finally trying out that recipe you've bookmarked for years. For others, it's about starting new traditions, perhaps watching the sunrise each morning, or keeping a dream journal where you capture the stories your subconscious brings to light during the night. These activities may seem small, but they enrich your days with purpose and creativity. Most importantly, embracing solitude is not about shutting the world out. Rather, it's about finding balance, nurturing your inner world while still maintaining meaningful connections, like those we explored in Habit 3. The deeper your relationship with yourself, the more genuinely you can show up for others. Solitude, when embraced with intention, doesn't diminish your life, it deepens it. A phone call with a friend or a brief chat with a neighbor, these small moments remind us that solitude and connection are not opposites. In fact, they complement each other, each enhancing the depth and richness of the other. Solitude allows you to reflect, recharge, and grow, while connection grounds you in the shared human experience. Consider the story of James, a 76-year-old retiree living alone in a quiet rural cottage. After decades in a fast-paced career, the stillness of retirement felt unfamiliar and, at times, overwhelming. The silence seemed endless, and James struggled to find a sense of purpose. But everything began to change the day he borrowed a book on birdwatching from his local library. What started as casual curiosity turned into something more. He began observing the birds in his backyard, noting their patterns, sketching their shapes, and documenting their songs. Soon, those quiet mornings transformed into moments of discovery. The simple act of watching birds brought James a sense of purpose and wonder. And when he eventually joined a local birdwatching group, his solitary passion opened the door to new friendships and shared experiences. It became clear, solitude didn't close off the world. It simply offered a different way of connecting with it. If you're seeking your own purpose, start with a simple question. What makes me feel truly alive? What's one small thing you could do tomorrow that would bring a sense of joy or satisfaction? It could be planting a single flower, writing down a cherished memory, or calling someone just to say hello. These small, intentional acts add up, creating meaning, direction, and pride. Purpose has the power to transform solitude from something to endure into something to embrace. It becomes the foundation for a life that feels full, even in the quietest hours. Just think back to the stories we've explored. Walter reclaiming structure through morning rituals, Eleanor restoring her spirit through daily walks, Richard forming a bond with a neighbor over coffee, and Samuel preserving his memories with a typewriter. Each of them found their own way to shape the silence into something meaningful. Living alone doesn't mean living without joy, meaning, or connection. It means having the freedom to redefine what truly matters to you, and the power to make every day your own. Wishing you health, happiness, and peace. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Healthy Aging Blueprint, for more inspiration and guidance on aging with purpose and strength.